All right, so quick show of hands in the room. How many people own a smartphone? Yeah, like I thought. How many people own a tablet? Any Android tablets in the house? Nope, iPads, put your hand back up. Right. Interesting, but there was an Android tablet back there, did I see? Excellent. So, iPads have enjoyed tons of popularity, and they've been focused on a lot of what's been happening, what's been developing in media. And iPads have grown to a huge share of the market. So they were 11% share of the market a couple years ago. Now with the application of different types of apps, they're becoming more and more. I recently bought my first iPad. I actually had an Android tablet before. And I realized after my wallet exploded that the iPad is really a consumption device in every sense of the word. You're supposed to keep buying more and more stuff. Do you want this cute little app in paper? It's $6. Do you want another magazine? That's $4. More and more and more and more. And since a lot of my work revolves around equality, particularly digital equality, inequality, and how these structures replicate themselves, I always wonder exactly what is going on, right? And I realize, working in the media, that a lot of times, even if we know people can't afford these things, we're just like Honey Badger. We don't care, okay? We don't give a fuck. We don't care if people can't afford these things because we think that eventually they will be able to. We have the field of dreams problem. We think that if we build it, they will come. And even when there's evidence to the contrary, even we realize people actually aren't downloading apps the way we thought they were, that they might not pay for these news apps, that a lot of people might not be using apps at all, might be using their smartphones in a different way, we don't know. Or to put it another way, we are supposed to be covering the 99%, and we're covering the 1%, but we're developing for the 19%. And that is a problem. Right? So one of the ways in which we look at how we can address digital equality is trying to figure out what we need to do. We need to have a sort of news for all the people, right? If we are tasked with making sure that everyone has access to information in our society, and we are tasked to make sure to disseminate that information, one of the things we have to look at is how are people accessing it and reaching it beyond just, these audiences. We kind of have to step away from the cutting edge, right? Step away from the ledge. It doesn't mean that we have to stop completely. It doesn't mean we have to stop with our toys and with our fun and with our iPads. But it does mean we need to think about the people who are not going to catch up on this curve for 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years. We have to look a little bit beyond what developers and what corporations are trying to feed us, right? We become really reliant on things like Twitter and on things like iPads that are developed for reasons that are not about, social equality or not about justice or democracy. So you need to figure out what's going on. So folks in the media have done other things. This is Sasha Cosanza Chalk's project called VozMob, which he took from different migrant workers in communities that are generally underserved in media, gave them plain feature or cell phones that were equipped with MMS data, and allowed them to tell their own stories about themselves on a website they control. There's a lot of interesting things happening in developing nations right now with portable money and portable spending that has changed economies, that has changed the ideas. And they've been able to do this without the help of apps, right? Instead of using a Bank of America app to transfer money, they do it through their cell phones. There's all of these fabulous things going on at MIT right down the street with open source consumer electronics. They're figuring out ways to experiment with making tech more tactile, making it easier to use, integrating tech with nature, finding different things to do. Right? And then this is another fun open source kind of news project where they're showing on these bike wheels, you almost can't see it, but they're talking about things like the student loan debt. They're advertising this information in places where people can publicly see it without spending $900 on another consumption device, right? Open source and open source software is important. One, because of the values that it espouses. This stuff is supposed to be free in the way that kind of like information is. And again, not free as in beer, as tech folks say, as in people just giving things away, but free as in freedom, as in knowledge, as this is something that people are supposed to have. There are so many wonderful projects. This is a screenshot from Noni de la Pena's Hunger in Los Angeles project that she built on a free and open source software called Unity, which is a game development software that she is using to show people hunger in Los Angeles. And of course, I have very good friends over at Wikimedia who, in their quest to make knowledge free, have partnered with Orange Telecom to allow people, particularly the pilot programs launching in Africa, to allow people with plain feature phones to edit Wikipedia without the need for a computer or a browser, right? So there's a lot of interesting, fascinating projects afoot in many different spaces that we could be learning from. But unfortunately, we're blinded by the apps. We're blinded by smartphones. We're blinded by tablets because we can afford to be, right? And one of the things that always stands out to me is how how much this problem is while I was reading this Fast Company magazine, which was excellent, excellent article on the smartphone revolution, on the First Words app, on these children who are growing up with iPads. I was reading this article and I'm in this world, but at the same time, I'm also teaching these kids, and I'm in this world, and I'm in the middle of a church in the middle of Southeast DC with these children who are struggling readers, who are sharing the computers we loaned from Howard University, and who are trying to figure things out. The digital revolution missed them. We can't allow that to happen. Thank you.